A corpus is a collection of linguistic data such as written text. The plural of corpus is corpora. The word corpus literally means body, so a natural language corpus is a body of text. Corpora have been used by linguists for decades to explore language and develop and test hypotheses. Corpora are often used by NLP practitioners as input to machine learning or other systems in order to form a model of language. The choice of a corpus is important because each body of text will be unique in the focus and types of language. A corpus of tweets is quite different from a corpus of books of the King James Bible. A good corpus for an NLP project will be representative of the type of language that the project seeks to model. Chapter 2 of the NLTK book lists corpora that are available within NLTK. There are some Project Gutenberg text, some web and chat text, the Brown corpus. The Brown corpus is interesting historically because it was the first million-word corpus of English, created way back in 1961 at Brown University. It's a diverse corpus with text from 500 different sources. There's a Reuters News corpus, an inaugural address corpus, and there's a section of the corpora that are annotated. We have talked before about the tree bank, the Penn Tree Bank corpus, and the Connell 2000 chunking corpus. But you can see there's quite a bit more. And there's even some corpora in other languages as well. Here they discuss the variety of structure within a corpora. It could just be text, or they could be categorized texts with some overlap. And you could have some temporal corpora, which is interesting if you want to see how language use changes over time. In Chapter 12, I have a short list of resources for corpora, and some of these are lists of lists. So this one has quite a few links. The second one focuses on dialogues, and Google has a couple of new data sets for dialogue as well. And even the Wikipedia page about text corpora lists some resources. If you're focused on a very specialized NLP application, like for example a medical application, you would have to gather corpora from that domain, from journals, books, and other training material. Often NLP projects that want to develop a dialogue bot can develop their own corpus through the Wizard of Oz technique. And this Wizard of Oz technique uses real people to dialogue with humans, modeling best practices. Then the transcripts of those dialogues form the corpus. Sometimes you may have to annotate your corpus, and Amazon provides a service called Mechanical Turk, which is a relatively inexpensive way to get human annotation. The term gold standard dataset is one that has been reliably annotated by human annotators. These will be labeled datasets, and an inner annotator agreement is quantified, usually by a kappa score. Next, let's see how to gather a corpus from Twitter. Many sites where people want to get data from, such as Twitter and Wikipedia, have gone ahead and developed an API so they can control access to the site. Twitter provides a Python library, Tweepy, for downloading tweets. You can install Tweepy with pip or pip3. You'll need two things. You'll need a regular Twitter account, and you'll have to create a Twitter developer account. I have a link in this notebook in the GitHub where you can make the application. They offer a premium account, but the personal account should be enough for what you want to do with NLP. The whole process of that application took about an hour or so, and then you'll be led to documentation and authentication keys that you'll need. You'll also have to create a web page setup, and the guidelines will walk you through that. It doesn't have to be a web page that you're actually going to use. You can just toss together basic HTML to satisfy their requirements. So once you've got all that set up, you can follow this code. they will give you a consumer key, a consumer secret, an access token, and an access token secret, which you'll fill in here. Then you import Tweepy, set up your authorization and access to the API. Now you're ready to search tweets. Here I'm searching for hashtags NLP and machine learning. I don't want retweets, and I gave it a start date. This code will do the search for my search words, and my date, and my language preference. And here I just requested 5 items. This object, tweets, will be an iterator object. From the tweets object, I'm extracting from each one screen name, location, and text, using a list comprehension to create a list of lists, which we see here. This is really hard to read, so what I did next is put it into a pandas data frame so that it's just more organized. We see the usernames, the locations are worldwide. Here, this display gives us a partial look at the tweet. If we want to look more, we can just index into that. This is column 0, column 1, column 2. I was curious about this last tweet, and it's a link to something they're trying to promote here. I'm going to show a couple of different ways to download data from Wikipedia, which is the mother of all text sources. This first way is with a package called Wikipedia, which you can install with pip or pip3, and it's a wrapper of a more heavy-duty API designed for simple downloading. If you're going to do some heavy-duty downloading, you should look at some of these resources here. The documentation for this particular package is here. So once you've installed it, you just import it. Then you can ask for a summary of a search term here. Here I'm specifically searching for Austin, and I get a list of possible matches. Then I can narrow down to that page. Now Austin is an object that refers to this page, so I can get all kinds of attributes from that page. The title, the URL, all of the text. Here I'm just showing the first 100 characters. I can get all of the links from the page, and here I'm just showing the first one. You can change the language. You can get a list of languages here. Here I chose Spanish, and now I'm asking for the summary again of Austin, Texas. This time just give me one sentence, but since I've changed the language, now I'll see it in Spanish. So here goes my high school Spanish. Austin, pronunciado Austin, es el capital del estado, Dios mío, that's a long word, estadounidense de Texas y del condado de Travis. Apologies to native Spanish speakers. Next, I'm going to show you how to process a Wikipedia dump using GenSim. I have a link here to GenSim. It's a package that a lot of people use for topic modeling, which is a topic we'll discuss in a future video. GenSim has a lot of other nice NLP features as well, and one of the reasons it's popular is that it's written to handle memory very efficiently. It's also written in such a way as to utilize multiple cores on your computer. You can install it with just pip or pip3. From gensim.corpora, we're going to import WikiCorpus, which will enable us to process a dump. So first we need a dump. I have a link here, and you can see they're rather large, and they're organized. First you have abstracts, then pages, then articles. So depending on what you want, you can just download that specifically. To give you an idea how big these are, I downloaded it and then immediately moved it to an external drive because it was so large. This is the file I downloaded in Wiki, latest pages, articles, XML, BZ2, and that's 17.7 gigabytes. For the heck of it, I went ahead and expanded it to the XML file, and that is nearly 80 gigabytes. And if we take a look at it, we see that it is indeed the XML. For this notebook, you don't need to, unpack it into the XML. We're going to feed in directly the BZ2 file. This function will make the corpus for us. We're going to send it the dump file name, the BZ2 file name, and then some output name that we want to use. So this is what's going to take a while, and when I say a while, I mean several hours. This wiki corpus takes your file name, the BZ2 file name, and creates the wiki object. Once it's created, then it goes through and processes them, and I have a little printout here so I can just see that it is doing something. This is how I'm going to call make corpus. I give it my file input name, and I give it an output name where I want it to dump the plain text. I didn't time how long this took, but it was several hours, and you can see it's nearly 5 million articles. This is a function that can read over that a few articles at a time, and here I'm running it. So even though here we're printing, you could replace this code right here with different kinds of processing and get rid of this. This is just for kind of the looky-loo aspect of looking at it. The processed text ended up being about 17 gig. We can also take a look at the processed text in the console here. And that's just a lot of text. I'm running the code again just to show you. These are the 6 cores on my Mac Mini, to show you that Gensim is making good use of all the cores. Given this look at the wiki dump, I leave you with this quote today by David Carr. We live in an age where there's a fire hose of information, and there's no hierarchy of what's important and what's not.